What is up, guys? It's Swimmer here, back again with some more Go Battle League action. Going to be using a favorite team of mine from the Great League with Froslass, Azumarill, and Deoxys. I am going to be making the change, though, from Rock Slide on Deoxys to Psycho Boost. The purpose of this is I wanted to see if this team was still going to be viable with the nerf to Rock Slide, because I do think that Psycho Boost is going to be the preferred move now. Obviously, I can't test out whether it will still be viable with the bubble nerf, because we don't know what that is yet. I mean, we don't know what the rock slide nerf is yet either, but Azumarill, I think, will still play pretty similarly unless they really nerf bubble hard. I'm hoping that it's just one damage down. So wanted to give it a try. One thing I will say to begin with is that this team now is really, really weak to Alolan Marowak on the lead. So previously, that was basically an instant save swap into Deoxys, but without Rock Slide, you really have no way to threaten that matchup convincingly. So it just puts you in a pretty tough spot. Mew as well is another really tricky Pokemon to handle. So did 3 sets today, had a not great set where I ran into a couple of those Pokemon and my opponent really played well, and I didn't really have an opportunity to win those. Had another good set where I played pretty well, went 4-1, and then in my third set I played really, really well. Unfortunately, I didn't record that set, but I did go 5-0 and I hit expert rank today, so let's go ahead and get right into the battles. So with Psycho Boost on the safe swap, it gives you more play against Shadow Vic, to be honest, and Haunter coming in, but it does reduce your ability in some of the other matchups and against some flyers. So Azumarill on the lead, going to go for that Shadow Ball. The way I like to play this is to do a Shadow Ball, one more Powder Snow, and then swap out, hoping to catch an Ice Beam or Play Rough on the Azu. They swap in their Hypno here. This is actually now an XL Azu that I'm using. I ended up going with a sort of middle-of-the-road IVs. It's a 5-14-15 or 5-15-14 that is level 42, required only 40 XL candy, which was as many as I got. I did catch a rank 2 one, but I ultimately decided that I wanted to use this before then, and I can always save XL candies again and build another Azu if I decide I want to. And the extra bulk on the Azu is quite noticeable. I can comfortably survive 2 Thunder Punches there from the Hypno and get to the second Play Rough to take them out and win switch in what would normally be not a very favorable match. So really noticing it there. We do have a Shadow Machamp coming in, so we have 3 good responses for that. So we're going to come in with Deoxys because that Psycho Boost is really going to deal a lot of damage. But at this point, they're low enough that I can probably just counter them down. They do throw the Rock Slide, which gets me quite low, and then they come in with their Azu. Of course, they had that loaded energy, so I'm going to be forced to shield. I can't sacrifice all this energy on my Deoxys. So I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt here. This is likely going to be getting a shield from the Azu. We do get a shield. And we should be able to get to another Thunderbolt. Yep, another Thunderbolt. And my opponent is still going to have to throw energy at us. Otherwise, we would get to a Psycho Boost. And we actually CMP Tide, which is even better for us because they're going to throw this Ice Beam. We can come in with our Froslass now and build up some energy. And then we can go straight for this Shadow Ball. I was safe to overcharge a little bit there because they did just throw all their energy. The Shadow Ball takes out the Azumarill. Might have been an Avalanche range, but we can Powder Snow down the champ, and that's going to be a good game. Alright, getting into the next matchup here. So yeah, the extra bulk on Azu I notice against the Hypno. I also notice in the Azumarill matchup, where I'm now pretty reliably able to survive 3 Play Roughs from another Azu, whereas previously 2 Play Roughs and an Ice Beam would sometimes take me out, so that definitely makes a big difference. Alolan Marowak on the lead is terrible for me. I go into Defense Deoxys anyways, hoping hoping they stay in and that I can soft lose the matchup. They swap into Mandibuzz. This is another one where Rock Slide would be nice. It's just a little bit less energy than Thunderbolt, and I would be able to get to 2 Rock Slides against this Mandibuzz instead of just 1 Thunderbolt. However, we are going to let them Foul Play to take us out, and at this point, I'm going to go for a really aggressive farm down since I was able to CMP tie on that one. I know I'm going to have to either tank or shield a Foul Play. I think I'm going to tank it, knowing that they do have that Alola Marowak and could just go to Farm City on me otherwise. And then we are able to farm down with the Powder Snow. They're coming in with the Alola Marowak. I can go for an Avalanche to bait out the shield. And then I'm only going to get to 1 more charge move, so 1 more Powder Snow, and I can get to that Shadow Ball. And this is going to either basically take out the Marowak or get the second shield. We get the second shield, so this is looking okay for us. They have their own Azu in the back. And so this isn't over. We need to basically get to 3 play roughs against this Azu and then still have enough health left over to take out this Marowak. And it's definitely going to be tight. If they have Shadow Ball, or if they successfully bait, could be a bit of a problem, but we'll have to see. We do land the first play rough, get going for a second one here. Hopefully, we're able to take out this Azu. We get a bubble through on the charge move. That's quite good for us. We're going to shield up this second play rough just to keep a little bit of health. I want to make sure that they can't just go for Bone Clubs. Going to go for the play rough as soon as we get it. Might have been smart to farm up just a little bit more, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't, lose a CMP tie or something. I know that they had loaded energy, so I tried to swap into Froslass to catch, but was not able to. And they're going to throw a charge move here. I'm hoping that they go for the bait, but they go straight for the Shadow Bone. Definitely the right call on their part to go straight Shadow Bone. I think my win condition was calling the bait. Now they can just throw Bone Clubs, and I'm forced to shield up a Bone Club, so that's not great for me. Going to go for the Play Rough. This is going to get them low, but I'm just not going to be able to bubble them down in time, and they're going to be able to get to another Bone Club. So if I'd been able to shield up that first Shadow Bone, I would have had, I guess, 1 more Fire Spin. So you know what? It wouldn't have mattered because they would have just had to tank 1 more bubble, which they definitely could have done, and still then they would have gotten to a Shadow Bone and Bone Club. So really had to catch. So was not able to come out on top on that matchup. My opponent played it very well, and again, Alola Marowak is just a nightmare for this particular team. So Toxicroak on the lead. This is totally fine. They swap into Galarian Stunfisk, so I like to throw the Avalanche here. Throwing the Avalanche puts them at about half health, and then we actually CMP tie, so I'm going to go ahead and shield that up. And then I'm going to likely build up close to the Avalanche and try and catch on the Deoxys. We are able to successfully catch the Rock Slide on the Deoxys, so that's quite good for us. And this is a really nice farm down range for Defense Deoxys. We can just counter down. We might have to eat an Earthquake here. This is probably going to be an Earthquake, but we still have no need to shield. Yeah, it gets us quite low, but we've got tons of loaded energy, and now my opponent can't really farm no matter what they bring in. They've come in with a Mew, and Mew is a nightmare for this team, and I'm down in shields, so this is not looking good for me. They don't shield up the Thunderbolt, which is not amazing. Gonna likely come into Froslass here to get off the Avalanche as quickly as I can. Yeah, gonna go straight for this Avalanche. I want to get that next shield from my opponent, or take out the Mew. We do get the next shield. I can swap now into Azumarill. This is likely going to be a wild charge, so I believe I do go ahead and shield this. Yep, it is a wild charge. And then Toxicroak in the back. Basically what I need to do is hope that they... well, you know what? This was probably the wrong call to go for Play Rough. This just doesn't offer me enough farm potential for my Azu, because they're going to come back in with Mew, and I'm not going to be able to get to a charge move on... not going to be able to get to enough charge moves. So I needed to either build up to the Hydro Pump to convince them to shield, or just throw the Ice Beam so I had more farm potential, because they're going to be able to get to a charge move here. Wild Charge is likely not going to take out Froslass, but it will put us very low, and we can't get to the Avalanche, and then just like another couple Shadow Claws, and they would take us out. So very well played by my opponent. Mew is definitely a nightmare for this team. Honestly, Mew beats all 3 Pokemon, so um, if the opponent plays well and you run into a Mew, you're basically out of luck. But that was very well played by my opponent, so very good management of their energy on Mew and recognizing that Mew is the win condition. So Swampert, the way I like to play this is let the first Hydro Cannon come through, and then basically match their shields after that, and you can always get to the third Avalanche before they can get to the fourth Hydro Cannon, and they generally can't mudshot you down. So I'm going to shield up this second Hydro Cannon. We do actually CMP tie, so hopefully they're going to shield up this Avalanche. It wasn't a CMP tie, as it turns out, which is fine, because we can build up a little more energy. And then we're going to go ahead and throw another Avalanche. They actually, we overfarmed a little bit too much, and they get to the third Hydro Cannon before we get to the second Avalanche. So they just let it go, which puts us in a bit of a tough spot, and they've gotten a Alolan Muck in the back. This is really bad for us. Alolan Muck is another one that beats this entire team. It's not particularly common, but it's common enough. So what I'm going to try and do is come in with Azumarill, and I counted to 5 Snarls, but then swapped into Defense Deoxys. Unfortunately, we did not catch the Sludge Wave, and instead we eat back-to-back Dark Pulses on Defense Deoxys, so that takes us out. We're going to be able to bubble down this Azumarill, but they've got a Skarmory in the back and a shield advantage, so no point really playing that out. They're definitely going to win that matchup, especially because I don't have Hydro Pump. So that's going to be a good game, and I just choose to surrender that. So Alolan Muck is another really tough Pokemon. I think it's Alolan Muck, Mew, and Alolan Marowak are probably the toughest Pokemon to face with this team. Defense Deoxys, the way I like to play that is build up to the Shadow Ball. They reach the Rock Slide when you reach the Shadow Ball, and then I swap into my DD to absorb the damage. They bring in a Tropius, which is another matchup where you really kind of wish that you had the Rock Slide available, but it's totally fine still. We're definitely not going to be able to win this matchup, but we can go for a Thunderbolt to do some nice chip damage. This will probably put them to about half health. Yeah, almost half, and then we're actually going to be able to get to a Psycho Boost as well. And this is going to deal some nice chip damage, definitely put them into farm down range for our Froslass. Unfortunately, they do commit to the farm down, so they've got a lot of loaded energy. We're going to have to eat a Leaf Blade on the Froslass. So we eat one Leaf Blade, but they've definitely got a second one banked here, so we're going to have to shield that. And then we should be able to farm them down with Powder Snow before they can get to another charge move. Yep, we are able to farm them down, and now we've got tons of loaded energy on our Froslass. I'm going to go ahead and throw an Avalanche into this Umbreon, but this isn't looking great for us. The Umbreon is definitely going to be a bit of a problem. I'm going to go ahead and swap now into the Azumarill, trying to catch a Foul Play. Unfortunately, we were not able to catch one, so they do throw the Last Resort. And basically, at this point, I've got to, well, I go for the Play Rough here. Really, I ought to be going for Ice Beam. They're definitely going to shield this. They've got 2 shields still, yeah, so they go ahead and shield. We do sneak a Bubble through, so that's going to be big. I don't shield. I want them to prove that they've got Thunderbolt. They do just go for the Rock Slide, so that was a good no-shield call on my part. I'm going to go now for another Play Rough. This Play Rough is likely going to get another shield. No, they decide to let it go through, so that's very good for us. This is another charge move coming through. I am going to shield up the Azumarill now, recognizing that I need it to take out the Umbreon. We do have back-to-back Avalanches on our Froslass, so we can go ahead and throw one at this Deoxys, throw another one at this Umbreon. This puts them in a really tough spot. They can either no shield and get very low, or shield and leave me open to potentially play roughing them. We sneak a Bubble through, which is absolutely huge. I think that's what's going to win us the game, because now we just need 3 more bubbles. They can't get to a Foul Play or a Last Resort in time, and this Play Rough is going to be more than enough damage to take them out. So stripping that shield with the Froslass was really important. I potentially could have farmed down the DD with the Froslass and had back-to-back for the Umbreon, but that was just a little bit risky, and was still able to find the Wind Cone here. So very good game, very close, and Azumarill was really clutch against that Umbreon in the back there. So Alright, so not a great first set, only 2 wins in that first set. We get a Stunfisk on the lead in the next one, so gonna go for an Avalanche right away here. They go for the Rock Slide instantly. I do like to shield up the first Rock Slide to preserve some health on the Froslass. Gonna build up some extra energy, go for a Avalanche. They actually swap into Pelipper. So this Avalanche is still going to deal quite a bit of damage. Totally fine with me. And now we're going to be able to get to another Avalanche before they can get to a Weather Ball. And they're likely going to look to farm up a little bit of energy here, so I go ahead and try and swap into Azu to catch a Weather Ball, but they just kept farming, so this is definitely going to be a Hurricane. This is totally fine, though. We can just absorb this energy on the Azu and look to hard farm this down. This is definitely a Weather Ball, way too soon to be another Hurricane. So we are going to resist that Weather Ball, and we are going to leave this matchup with 99 energy. So that's quite good for us. Going to go ahead and throw the Ice Beam. It is going to be a Cresselia coming in. I was really expecting it to be the Galarian Stunfisk, so in hindsight, I for sure should have thrown the Play Rough. I will throw the Play Rough now, though. And this is going to start applying a fair bit of pressure to that Cresselia to shield. We do have them less than half health already. I have the energy for Play Rough, so I could shield here, but I decided to let it go. I want to come in with Froslass, and I want to make sure that I'm able to get off an Avalanche on the Galarian Stunfisk with our Froslass. So we eat a Grass Knot. I know that we can survive it. We're going to go for a Avalanche against the Cresselia, and there's no way that they can Psycho Cut us down. We're going to be able to get to another Avalanche, and this is going to take them out. And at this point, I know I'm not going to be able to get that Avalanche off against the Stunfisk, so we're going to go ahead and swap straight into Deoxys. This is another matchup where having the Psycho Boost actually really helps out quite a lot. It's only single resisted instead of double resisted like Rock Slide and Thunderbolt. So you're able to, once you get the Galarian Stunfisk low, the charge moves actually deal some damage. So we're going to go for this Psycho Boost here once we get to 100 energy, just before they get to that next Rock Slide. And you can see that does some nice damage. We can back-to-back on these Psycho Boosts, and this is going to be more than enough damage to take out the G-Fisk, and that's going to be a good game. So having that shield advantage for the Deoxys in the back was really nice, and was definitely what let us win that matchup in the back. And again, that Psycho Boost against the Galarian Stunfisk makes the Defense Deoxys matchup much better against, just because it's only single resisted, so you do actually do some appreciable damage with the charge move there. Alright, Deoxys on the lead. You guys have seen me play this already. Gonna go ahead and build up to that Shadow Ball, and as soon as I get to the Shadow Ball, I'm gonna swap out. Unfortunately, we get some lag, so not gonna be able to swap out, and I am going to have to shield up the Rock Slide here. My opponent chooses to swap into Stunfisk. This is totally fine with me because we can go ahead and throw an Avalanche, build up a little bit more energy, and then swap into our Deoxys. This is nice farm down range for this Deoxys. We're not going to shield anything from the Stunfisk. We do eat an Earthquake, and we might actually be forced to shield because they might get to a second Earthquake. I did stay in a little bit of extra time. Yeah, we're going to have to shield. This is going to be another Earthquake. I stayed in a little bit of extra time with the Froslass to build up some extra energy, and as a result, I have to shield, so not sure that that was the right call. But we are going to be able to unload a Thunderbolt onto this Defense Deoxys, and would likely get to another Thunderbolt. Yeah, we're definitely going to be able to get to another one. This is going to really start to pressure the shields. We do get a shield from that Deoxys, so that's quite nice. And then we're going to actually be able to get to a Psycho Boost here, which is going to get them quite low. And they likely still cannot farm us down. Oh, they are going to be able to farm us down if they want, but they decide to throw. So that's really good for us. They definitely have some loaded energy, so because they have a lot of loaded energy, I'm going to come in with Azu. The Rock Slide would basically be taking out the Froslass, and I know I've got some nice loaded energy. They go for the Thunderbolt, which is totally fine, and it is a Shadow Machamp in the back, so this is a pretty straightforward matchup at this point. I can just go for the Play Rough. Either they let it go and it KOs the Machamp, or they shield, in which case the stored Avalanche that I have on the Froslass will be more than enough to take out the Shadow Machamp. So we do get the shield. We can swap into the Froslass, go for the Avalanche. This is going to take out the Machamp, and then we can Powder Snow down the Defense Deoxys in the back. So really good matchup there. Having that loaded energy on the Froslass was really nice in that matchup. Froslass is so dangerous with loaded energy. There's not very much that is able to wall a Froslass. I'm struggling to think of a Pokemon that resists both Ice and Ghost. I guess Bisharp with its Dark Steel typing, but there aren't many. Venusaur on the lead is kind of awkward. They have a Sableye safe swap, and it's a kind of a iffy matchup. I want to shield the return because it does a lot of damage, but at the same time, I don't want to leave a lot of health for this Venusaur to farm down, so I'm going to build up to 99 energy and throw the Play Rough, and then we get a shield. We have another Play Rough here. Unfortunately, we CMP tie, which is just terrible for us, which means we're going to have to shield in order to get the second Play Rough off. I want to take shields out from my opponent, and so this second Play Rough is going to go through, get the second shield, but they're going to be able to farm us down, so I decide to swap out to avoid getting farmed down. I am going to have to shield up this Foul Play, would deal quite a lot of damage otherwise, and they bring in a Stunfisk, so this is going to be tricky, because that Sableye still has a fair bit of health, so I'm going to go for the Avalanche, and then I can't swap out, so I've got to stay in this matchup. Rock Slide will not KO at this point. And I make a bit of a mistake here. I throw the Avalanche, which is good, but what I should be doing is undercharging it just a little bit more. So I decided to stop attacking there and let the Froslass go down, but if I'd undercharged, I would be able to get more than a 1 counter lead, and that's really going to be important because they've got a Venusaur here, and I need to have a 3 or 4 counter lead to really be comfortable, because I can go for the Psycho Boost here, and it deals a lot of damage, but then I try and catch on the Azu. Unfortunately, I do not catch successfully. They do throw the Frenzy Plant into us, which is going to deal a lot of damage, and we're just not going to have enough. They swap into Sableye now, so I needed to build up a little bit of extra energy, knowing that they still had some stored on Venusaur, and just not going to be able to deal enough damage. So probably still should have thrown the Psycho Boost there, hoping to get as much to take out the Sableye and then at least force the issue, but very well played by my opponent. If obviously Froslass and Deoxys really struggle against Sableye, so if they double shield the Sableye, it can be a bit of a problem. So Shadow Vic on the lead, gonna go straight for that Avalanche with the Froslass to burn a shield and then go into Defense Deoxys. They do decide to swap out into Mandibuzz. This is okay for us. I'm going to go ahead and let this first Foul Play come through. It is an Air Slash Mandibuzz, which is actually good for us because they get to those charge moves a little bit slower. We're going to do 3 counters, which is the same as 2 Air Slashes to make sure they don't get an extra fast move through. And go for that Thunderbolt, and then again 3 more counters gets me to the next Thunderbolt, and I'm able to beat them to that move because I'm making sure to give them as little extra energy as possible. We take out the Mandibuzz, but to be honest, it might have been better if they took us out and we could farm down with one of our Pokemon. So we shield up the Froslass onto this Victreebel. We did get a Powder Snow through, which is going to be huge because it means we can actually simultaneously KO. And then they've got a Stunfisk in the back against our Azumarill. This is pretty straightforward. Even if we get baited, we can still win this matchup. So I am going to go ahead and shield this up. It's likely a Rock Slide bait, but we should still be able to win this just fine. This is another matchup where the XL Azu makes a big difference because the XL Azu can fairly reliably survive 2 Earthquakes unless they have a very attack-weighted Stunfisk, in which case the Ice Beam's going to deal more damage. So that first Earthquake comes through, and they definitely need to get to another Earthquake. Again, I'm making sure to throw 2 bubbles at a time, so they get 3 mud shots in and don't get anything extra in. And we're actually able to bubble down just as we're getting the energy for that last Ice Beam. So, very good match there. Shadow Victreebel is, it's a pain to deal with on any team, to be honest. But with Psycho Boost, again, that's one where it gets a little bit easier with that Defense Deoxys. So, Regular Stunfisk on the lead, totally fine for us. We stay in with our Froslass and then build up some energy before going into Defense Deoxys. Even without Rock Slide, this is still favorable for Defense Deoxys if they don't have Shadow Ball, so I no shield the first charge move, and then they throw again right away, so it's definitely not a Shadow Ball at this point. It's another Fire Punch, so this should be pretty favorable. I do go ahead and throw the Thunderbolt. That is going to get them fairly low. And then I know that I'm not going to get to another Thunderbolt in time, so I do go ahead and throw the Psycho Boost. This is going to actually get a shield from my opponent, which is really nice for me. And they're trying to farm me down, but you just can't farm down Defense Deoxys with Confusion, especially when it has that Psycho Boost. So we're able to take out the Hypno and win swap and shield advantage, and then my opponent decides to just surrender, as I'm guessing they had something that was, not particularly strong against Froslass in the back. So the Froslass was just going to run over the team because the Stunfisk was going to have to eat an avalanche or 2 avalanches right away, basically. So that's a good game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Able to go 4-1 in that set, so this is going to bring us up to 27-21. I did then go 5-0 to hit Expert, so pretty happy about that. That was really my goal before the second half of the season started, was to hit that Expert rating. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.